Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of March 16th, 2023. The current character challenge is John Stewart, Green Lantern, John Stewart, Green Lantern.
Lantern and Stewart together?
Yeah, and that is a 1 week repeat. The required characters are Nightwing, any regime character, and then Doomsday. And those are available all at bronze, and silver, respectively. For bronze regime characters, you can get Catwoman or Solomon Grundy. So his passive is Emergency Barrier, which is when Green Lantern or a teammate reaches 20% health. A barrier appears, making that character invulnerable for 4 seconds. This could occur once per character per match. It's got 750 attack and 950 health. And was last available on the 19th of May, 2022.
Right. I always think it's funny when they label the character as the title in the challenge different than when they label it in the screen advertising it, the announcement screen that passes by. Anyways, so he's got really low stats. And the barrier, that's interesting. I mean, as I'm listening to you read the conditions of it, where it can only occur once per match, it occurs to me that there's a way they could have made it better. I mean, having the barrier is good, but it's basically a poor man's Astro Harness. You only get it once instead of 3 times, and it only lasts 4 seconds instead of the 5 seconds. And you wouldn't think that 1 second would make such a huge difference, but it does. It makes a huge difference. And I think...
You get 20% less time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because unlike the Astro Harness barrier, the Rebirth Raven can actually steal power through it.
Mm-hmm.
So... I guess the problem is it takes an entire Slaughtering team to get this. And what we're demonstrating in this video is what I think is probably the best use case with Rebirth Jessica Cruz, because her passive means that this Green Lantern and all Green Lanterns will increase the power of her Special 2 in addition to giving her a moment of invulnerability because of his passive.
Yeah.
Because, it's a defensive gear. I generally avoid augmenting anything except for crit chance and crit damage. Maybe this could be one of the cases where he's an exception because his stats are so low. Mm. But the interesting thing is with this team, so we've got Jessica Cruz, Red Lantern Hal Jordan, and John Stewart Green Lantern. Even at such low stats when he's at Elite 5, we're still getting max battle points. So... increasing John Stewart's stats would really only make the fights potentially a little bit harder. Mm-hmm. Now, Red Lantern Hal Jordan, you might be thinking, oh, well, of course he's on the team. He's a Lantern. Technically, he's not. He doesn't count towards Jessica Cruz's passive, but he's there because I think every team needs to have something to handle Astro Harness because it's going to come up plenty of times if you're getting max battle points.
Yeah.
And given how John Stewart, as we've geared him, really has minimal offensive potential, even though we've geared him to be our basic damage dealer, because if he's stuck in first slot, you need to have him kill sometimes if you've got an entry hazard on the other team. So we need something to neutralize Astro Harness, or have a tank that can wait out the vulnerabilities. And having a tank that doesn't have offensive potential doesn't make Astro Harness any easier to manage. Mm-hmm. So Red Lantern Hal Jordan is perfect. And lately we've been using Hawkgirl to take advantage of her quick tag in and tag out passive. But the beauty of Jessica Cruz is when she's got even just one Green Lantern teammate, her Special 2 lasts long enough that under normal circumstances, when the other team is not using Quake Engine on Joker, she can tag out as soon as she finishes her Special 2 if we think she's in any danger. Mm. And I guess if you compare this team to all of our recent teams where we're trying to use each week's challenge character as part of the team, this is a bit of a cheat. Because his passive is a defensive one, and not even that great a defensive one, it's hard to make him the star. And you think about it, even the Regime Green Lantern, a Silver Green Lantern, has a much better passive. So even though he can be effective, like you're seeing him in this loadout, it's hard to want to play with him. This is essentially a Jessica Cruz team using John Stewart, because in almost any other circumstance he'd be a bit wasted.
Yeah. So there we go. So this is 147 weeks, of a repeating pattern that first appeared in May of 2020. That's 3 complete runs of 43 characters and 18 weeks into the 4th cycle, with next week being Earth 2 Flash. That sort of 43 character cycle is missing actually 23 characters, unfortunately, that are excluded from it.
Yeah, yeah.
This week's multiplayer award is the Sengoku helmet, which becomes the Batman Ninja helmet. And when it's maxed out, its abilities is a 40% max health increase. For every 5% of available power, damage received is reduced by 2.3%. A Batman-specific ability, which is for every 10% of available power, crit chance is increased by 3%. And its last evolved ability is a 50% chance to resist power drain. This was last available on the 11th of August 2022. We're 115 weeks in a row of this pattern. It's 3 cycles of 31 rewards and then 22 weeks in the 4th cycle. Unlike the challenge, for the character challenge, nothing is missing. And if the pattern holds, next week should be Astro Harness.
Right.
Which is a great gear. So, definitely be ready to play multiplayer next week if you don't already have Astro Harness.
Right, right. So it's interesting. It's a really good defensive gear for your tank. And the only ability that's Batman specific is an offensive ability. So it's interesting. Mm-hmm. It's a funny mix. So generally we don't lean on defensive gears too heavily, but we had it originally as part of our loadout in the version of our Justice League team that had New 52 Superman. Because with New 52 Wonder Woman giving power, his passive is enough to make him really good offensively. So the gear slots can be made to make him almost invulnerable. Mm-hmm. And you could give New 52 Superman all defensive gears to make him invulnerable except against damage over time or gear shatters. And then his passive is, because you're charging him up and charging up his passive basically with Wonder Woman, he's still like a balanced character. He's not completely useless. He's not just killing time. Now, because he's not the specialist, there's a better chance that you'll need him for mop-up after power's already been spent. And so the timing of it works, right? You're not trying to make him something that he's not when he's the backup character. Mm-hmm. The main problem for me with this gear, which is why it's no longer part of our regular Justice League loadout when we're using it, is that to get the best benefit out of 2 of the abilities, so reduced damage taken, crit chance increase for Batman, you can't use your power.
Yeah.
Now, the good thing is that the abilities are in line with each other, and the last evolved ability protects the power that you're hoarding. Mm-hmm. And part of me has always thought, and I haven't used it enough because I like our current Red Lantern Hal Jordan gear loadout, but the best use might be with Red Lantern Hal Jordan because he almost always has 3 bars of power, mm-hmm. except right after doing special when he's vulnerable. And, given that he's losing health every time you use a special, he's one guy who you would be potentially hoarding his power.
Yeah, there's a point where even if you, you wouldn't want to use a special. And especially when your health is low enough, if you use a special, it would just kill you.
Yeah. The current loadout, I guess it's not even his week, and we're talking about it a bit more, but the reason why the what you're seeing on the screen works so well is because a special one doesn't cost you a lot of power. And the effectiveness of shattering everybody's gear is pretty good. It's wasted a bit at the beginning when they can tag out and sort of rinse that gear shatter off and get their gears back.
Yeah.
But towards the end of the fight, or even early on when you're facing Astro Harness, it's really super useful. Mm-hmm. And I guess the other reason it's so... Sorry, the other reason why we like Red Lantern Hal Jordan is because when you face this gear on Batman Ninja Batman, he can sometimes take very low or even 0 damage, and then you really need somebody to shatter his gear or have somebody who does a lot of damage over time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to be sitting on that fight for a while with the potential to screw up and actually lose because Batman Ninja Batman's Special 2 does so much damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there we go. Moving on to the store, we have the character bundle Batman vs. Superman for $24.99. All of our prices are in Canadian because that's the
only currency that
we
matters.
have access to.
That's the only currency that
Say
matters.
different stuff.
Yeah.
And so that comes with Dawn of Justice Batman and Dawn of Justice Superman, as well as 2 gears, which are the special Dawn of Justice gears, which are Batman's hooded cloak, which become Batman cowl, and the glasses, which become Clark Kent's glasses.
Right.
We also have Flash Earth 2 bundle, Earth the Flash, for $24.99 Canadian, and that includes 100,000 power credits. And starting this week, we're going to skip all of the ones that have been around for more than a year. So those are the only sort of 2 new things in the store.
Okay, so what's funny is, this is another example. It's like the John Stewart Green Lantern Challenge. So they call it the Flash Earth 2 bundle when you're in the store, and then when you open it, it's Earth the Flash bundle.
Yeah.
So it's just funny. I don't know.
Because Earth the Flash isn't even anything.
Yeah.
Because that's just where we live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be technically, it's like, I wonder if it's, if there were other creatures on a different planet, they would have a word for their own planet that they would potentially call something like Earth. Like, you know how the Inuit means the people?
Yeah.
Because they are the people.
Mm-hmm.
To them, they are the people.
And how
they center
people
themselves.
say stuff like Terra when they're trying to have aliens refer to Earth.
Right.
As like a way of like making it so that there's like, oh, well, they wouldn't call it the same things that we call it because we're essentially calling it dirt, right? They would say, oh, it's another planet.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the Phantom Zone is back for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Fight 62 is still broken. There is still no bug fix for that Google Play incompatibility.
Right.
Which means that, those challenge reset glitches and Phantom Zone reset is not working.
Right. But we've got bonus XP for an extended period of time. Like 6 weeks is especially long. And
6 days, you mean, not 6 weeks.
Yeah. 6 days. And in my mind, I was thinking like a week. And I was saying 6 days.
Yeah.
And I got all that mixed up. So it's almost a week. And part of me wonders, is that because it's March break? But I don't really keep track enough. And I thought the week that we just went through, at least for our area, is March break. It's only 1 week, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyways, you're getting a lot of extra XP if you need any right now.
Yeah.
So last weekend's breakthrough for golds was Deadshot, Wonder Woman, and Static. This coming weekend should be Zatanna, Flash, and Solomon Grundy. And we have a link in the description to a Reddit thread from a user Devlin16 that goes through the complete breakthrough cycle if you want to check it out yourself.
Not just any user.
A moderator, okay.
One of the mods from that subreddit, yeah. So that, as far as the current glitches go, we will go into more detail every time something significant changes, which it did not happen this week. And even if nothing changes, we still do a more detailed review once a month, the first week of every month. And most recently, that was our recap from March the 2nd. You can also see a tutorial for every working glitch in our playlist, Current Glitches, linked in the description of this video. Because it's relatively new, I want to point out that it's worth mentioning that the challenge reset glitch, and now that the Phantom Zone is back, the Phantom Zone glitch, they are both not working. And that's related to the fact that there's a Google Play incompatibility. That little message you get when you're on Android that tells you that there's some whatever missing. That's telling you that Google Play is not syncing with your device. You do not get a Google Play cloud save, and without that, both the challenge reset glitch and the Phantom Zone reset don't work.
Mm-hmm.
That's the important thing. Yeah.
So to finish up, we'd like to give a huge thank you to all of the folks who support us on Patreon. That is Korey Ashcraft supporting us at the last word tier, Michael Devries, Irvin Ruiz, Hoshi 127, and Drew Chapman, who are supporting us on the credited level, as well as all the names scrolling by now or a couple seconds ago who have supported us at some point throughout the pandemic. Right. Thank you so much for your support, and thanks so much to all of you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Komoda.